Hey guys, Coach Jason here. Today's video is going to be pretty important, especially right now that we're in the fall season. The weather's getting cooler, and especially if you're in the Northeast or anywhere in the Midwest, on the East Coast, the weather's getting cooler and it's going to get cold pretty quickly. And if you happen to stretch outside for whether it be for a workout or a run or just a race, a proper warm-up routine is of critical importance. All right. And the question is, are you doing what you need to do to be sufficiently warmed up and ready to go for the activity that you're doing? That's not only running. It could be anything. If you're going to play a game or play a flag football, if you're going to go for a bike ride or whatever, a long hike, are you loose? Are you ready for the activity? But for running specific, particularly with runs, workouts, and races, I want to go over two different routines. One of which has been utilized for decades here. It's commonplace in a lot of sports, a lot of teams, and so on. The other one is another idea that I've implemented about 20 years ago when I came across the Whartons, Jim and Phil Wharton, who were the pioneers of active isolated flexibility. And I not only adopted that, I also became a certified Wharton musculoskeletal flexibility therapist, and I utilize this not only on myself on a daily basis religiously. I also teach it to all the athletes whom I coach. And again, not everybody uses it, but the ones that do, have seen a drastic decrease in injuries and a drastic increase in performance and just feeling good overall. Okay. So let's go with the first routine. This is something that has been commonplace for a long time. And generally, I allocate an hour, okay? About an hour to be properly warmed up. For that goes from stretching to a warm-up jog to doing some agility or speed or plyometric drills, going to the potty and doing your business, and then taking some more fluids and getting your shoes on, your right shirt, your shorts, your tank top, or whatever, and particularly for workouts and races or hard workouts and races, slightly different routine for runs, which I'll go over in a little bit as well. But let's go over this, okay? So generally, with the 1 hour time, it's generally it has been for a while a 2 to 3 mile or 1 to 2 mile or whatever it is. Let's just say 2 to 3 mile warm up jog, right? And then 15 to 20 minutes of stretching, which has generally been static stretching or holding a stretch for an extended period of time. That's what a lot of folks are familiar with. It's been the philosophy for quite a long time. It's been implemented for quite a long time by a lot of people. Okay, and then drills and plyometrics and strides to whatever your routine is, or some folks only just do strides. Then you go to the bathroom, get your fluids. Then you put on your shoes or whatever, just make sure you're ready to go, do your final strides, and then you either do your workout or your race, cool down run, jog. For most people, will do that afterwards, except for obviously marathons and things like that. In some cases, a half marathon, not everybody cools down after those either. And then rehydrating fluids, getting some fuel back in your body, and stretching lightly afterward. The problem I have with this, and just in my personal experience as well, and this goes over 20 years, is after your warm-up jog, and let's take being out in the cold weather for an example. Okay, let's use that as an example. You do your warm-up jog, your body's warmed up, heart rate's up, you're warm, and then you start statically stretching, holding a stretch for a long period of time. Number one, static stretching is not sport-specific. Okay, it can be counterintuitive in a lot of cases as well. Okay, and what you're doing is by holding a stretch for a long period of time, you're not only potentially irritating muscles, causing slight micro tears, and what's indicative of that is when it starts to feel uncomfortable. That's the stretch reflex, something called the myotatic reflex, telling you to back off. Okay, stretching should not feel uncomfortable. It should not be painful. And I'm a lifelong martial artist as well. In some cases, stretches are painful, but I actually do a routine of flexibility that I'll go over shortly before I even go to the karate school. I do it religiously before I go there, knowing that most of the stuff at the karate school is going to be static, so I need to be loose before that, okay? Because as an instructor, I also implement a lot of dynamic flexibility incorporated within the static flexibility. Okay, so anyway, back to this, right? By warming yourself up, and then doing static stretching, the muscles are cooling down again. Okay, the body temperature is going down, heart rate's going down, and then you're going to try to fire it up again by doing plyometric strides and hard drills and hard strides. That little time period right there, you can put yourself at risk of injury, so you have to be careful. All right, and then doing your workout, your race, and so on and so forth. So this is where it can be dangerous, especially in the cold weather. Okay, you want to stay warm. All right, it shouldn't take you 2 miles of a 5-mile race to start feeling loose. Okay, or 3 miles of an 8-mile run to start feeling loose. Alrighty, so what I propose is considering another option. Okay, slightly different order. The same 1-hour time block. You do a 15 to 20 minute active isolated flexibility routine. Now, before I go any further, I have a running specific active isolated flexibility video on my channel. So click the subscribe button if you want to watch it. It's free. All my videos are free. It's running specific. And it takes you through a routine that gets you ready to go out and do a run, warm up for a workout or a race. And it could be the difference between needing a few miles to start feeling warmed up or feeling good as soon as you get out the door. You might be cold if this weather's cold, but your muscles will be loose and they'll be gradually, the routine gradually warms up your muscles, brings up the body temperature, and it's sport specific, okay? It's functional. So you're isolating one area at a time without irritating or potentially irritating other areas of the body, and that's where static stretching can be an issue. If you're leaning over the car to stretch your hamstring, and you happen to have a bad knee in the opposite leg, well, it's counterproductive. If you happen to have back issues, counterproductive. Trying to stretch your calf muscles by standing up. What if you have a little bit of Achilles irritation? Counterproductive because all your body weight's on the muscle you're trying to stretch. Okay, so watch that video. Alrighty. So again, 15 to 20 minutes of active isolated flexibility, and then your 2 to 3 mile warm up, or 1 to 2 mile, whatever it is. And then you do your drills and plyometrics and strides. And your the next slide I'm going to go over deals with stride drills, speed and agility, functional core strength, and plyometric movements that are good ones to utilize prior to a workout and a run or a race. Okay. Then you go to the bathroom, get your fluids. Then you put on your gear, whatever you're going to have on, whether it be your spikes, your shoes, or different shirt or whatever. Do your final strides. Then you do the workout or the race or the run. And then you do your cool down run, you jog afterward, and then you rehydrate, you take some fluids and some fuel, and then light stretching afterward. What I like about the active isolated stretching too is if it happens to be the first race, if you're a coach, whether it be high school or college or post-collegiate, and the first race or two of the season, you may not be as sharp as obviously because you shouldn't be, but there tends to be a little bit of heavy leg afterward. And by utilizing this active isolated stretching routine, it helps flush out a lot of that junk in the legs so you recover quicker. Okay, that's one of the great features about this. It's good on the front end and it's great on the back end. So I highly encourage you to check it out. Okay, so again, notice at no point in time are you doing something that's going to allow the muscles to cool down. Okay, you're staying active the whole time. It's gradually getting yourself warmed up, gradually warming up the heart rate of the muscles. All right, to get you ready for the activity that you're going to do. There's a huge difference between that, and it can be substantial when it comes to your performance or just the way you feel. So I highly encourage you to try this routine if you haven't tried it. It can be very, 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 very beneficial for you, and on multiple ways. Not only, like I said, the way you feel, but in terms of your performance and your recovery afterward. All of those things are important. And again, you couldn't even be an athlete. I mean, you could be a construction worker or a teacher. Okay, you just want to feel good. You work at an office and you're sitting down at your desk all day, sedentary position. All right. If you want to just feel good throughout the day, watch that video. If you happen to be someone who's on their feet all day, watch that video. It can help show you some things to flush out your legs. All right. It goes a number of ways. All right. And it's got multi-beneficial aspects everywhere. Okay. So again, this one's very sport specific. It's very effective, especially in the cold weather. So this is why I'm doing this video now, to emphasize the importance of this. Okay. Again, this has been adopted by more and more coaches and athletes over the last, say, decade or so. It's kind of, the trend is heading towards a routine like this, especially in the more professional ranks and so on and so forth. Okay. So I'm going to take this down. And I'm going to go over now specific drills that you can do, okay? And then just a warm-up routine just before a run, okay? Because that's important as well, okay? If you want me to do a video on the drills, if you happen to not know what all these are, just write a comment down below and ask me to do a video. I'd be more than happy to do the video on any specific ones you want me to do it on, okay? So, but prior to that, let's do a warm-up routine for a regular run, all right? 15-20 minute active isolated flexibility and stretching routine. Alrighty, body's warm, it's nice and loose. A couple of mobility and agility drills. Now think about it this way. I generally like to think of the active isolated flexibility as a W40. Think of yourself as like a high performance vehicle. This is WD-40. It's like getting your oil change, making sure things are running smoothly. Okay, there's not a dry nut and bolt thing going on. Okay, things are running smoothly. It's lubrication for your joints. All right. Mobility and agility drills is kind of getting the tune-up, okay? It's making sure the functioning parts, the small parts, are working properly to help make the bigger parts work more effectively as well, alrighty? And then your core and functional strength is essentially your foundation, okay? So you want to build a fortress of strength, but do it in such a way so that things still move freely and effectively. So you can be as efficient as you possibly can, especially in the longer races where energy conservation is of that much more importance or higher importance. Okay, you want to be as efficient as you possibly can. If you could change this to this just by doing some strength work and a proper, not only running technique, but proper flexibility, it'll go a long way. Okay, so I highly encourage you to consider that routine. So again, your core, your mobility and agility drills, even if you have 5 minutes, you do a couple, it's fine. Even if you have 5 minutes to do core, just trigger the muscles, get them firing up before you get out the door. You will notice a huge difference if you happen to do some drills and a little bit of core strength before your run, before your workout. You notice a huge difference. Okay, you feel stronger. You feel a little bit more protection around the muscles in your joints, particularly, and one of the differences, let's say on the women's side, on the female side, tend to be a little bit more prone to ACL knee problems. Well, building a functional fortress of protection around the knees can be very beneficial. The guys tend to, we have more stable joints, but we don't have as much range of motion. So we could have issues with our hips, our groin, our hamstrings, our Achilles. So it's important to address the range of motion area and the functional component and flexibility so that we're both addressing any particular deficiencies that we might have. Right? The more effective you are, the stronger you are, the more fluid you are, the better you're going to perform. And that's across the board no matter what you do. Right? So now let's go over some drills. Let's do the speed and agility first. And again, you're probably familiar with most of these, but if you're not, let me know and I'll put a video out for it. High knees focuses on turnover and quick feet. A skips, again, you're driving the lead foot into the ground. It's also a turnover drill. B skips is pretty much the same thing as an A skip, but you're utilizing a leg extension, okay, on the back end. All right, and the same thing, you're addressing turnover and driving the lead foot into the ground. Butt kicks, two different variations. Number one, you're lifting your foot up, right up underneath your butt, okay, and then you're driving the knees up. The second one, you're actually kicking your butt, okay, so the hip and the knee are kind of in a straight line, and you're kicking the butt behind you. All right, so there are two different variations. Okay, and then karaoke. You're light on your feet, obviously, and you're utilizing good hip activation here from a lateral movement, okay? Keep your knee up when you're crossing over. Again, this activates hips here, okay? Activates a lateral movement in the hips, one in front, one in back, one in front, one in back, okay? Now let's go to some core functional. And I'll say this, before runs and workouts, you can do any of these. Before races, I kind of just stick with speed and agility drills. All right. So core functional, planks and scissors, right? That's generally a similar or linked to the upper body and your core. Secondly, squats with an underhand and medicine ball toss. This would be with a partner, okay? Focusing on your legs and core rather than having to do heavy squatting. This is a great way of, again, just firing up the muscles before a run, okay, or after a run. Walking lunges with a high knee or with a twist. Okay, so you're doing lunge, and then you bring the knee up, and then that leg comes down, then you bring the opposite leg up. You build towards 50 meters, build towards 2 to 3 sets, but you start at 20 meters, and then you kind of gradually build. Okay, it's all a gradual progression. Okay, and then one with the twist, you're doing your lunge with a twist, either with a ball or without the ball. It's to get the core engaged. Okay, so we'll get legs, core. Then a one-legged balance drill, either touching your toes or reaching out ahead, or doing it with your leg up and your arms out. Again, this is a good stability drill to protect your knees, okay? Utilizing your core and your hips. But again, it's great for females as well, female athletes. You're building a protection around your knee, whether it be out here, reaching forward on one leg, and then coming back, up, but you're still on one leg throughout the whole time. 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. You alternate each side, okay, for a couple of sets. Now let's go to plyometric. Hurdle drills, a single leg walkover, left leg over the right, one hurdle, right leg over the next, left leg, right leg, and so on, okay? Double leg, left leg and right leg over one hurdle, and the next hurdle, and the next hurdle, okay? Lead leg hurdle drill and the trail leg hurdle drill. This is on a fence. You have a hurdle up towards the fence. This is, again, opening the hips, okay? Hurdle hops, and then a squat and a hurdle hop. You're adding a little bit of an exercise movement to your hurdle hops. These are great conditioning drills, all right? And then bounding drills. Straight leg drill on the balls of your feet. That's one option. And then your other option is actually your high knee bounding for distance, which I would recommend doing on grass or turf, in a soft area. Okay, you want to protect your knees, protect your joints, and your lower back. Okay? So I hope these are helpful. If you find this content valuable, please click the like button and please click the subscribe button. All my videos have valuable content, and I encourage you to watch the whole video if you're going to watch a video, not just the first 30 seconds or the last 30 seconds. The content is valuable and it's spread out across the video because I explained everything and the reason behind everything, especially in the training programs, which are broken down day by day, week by week, month by month for 5K, half marathon, marathon, cross country. And I will have other videos coming as well in terms of specific training plans, which I will be coming out, at least releasing a video once or twice a week. So click that subscribe button. Click the bell next to the subscribe button if you want to be notified or if you just want to know anytime I post a new video. All right. And again, if you like the content, please click the like button. If you want to see me do a video that takes you through these routines, just leave a comment down below and I'd be happy to accommodate you. All right. I hope you enjoyed this content. Have a great season. I'll talk to you next time.